Do you know this episode has footage from a pilot that was never picked up? Now it's in Star Trek. I'm in Salad and I saw Star Trek the original series, Assignment Earth. It is directed by Mark Daniels, written by Art Wallace and Gene Roddenberry. And if you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts when we're following the USS Enterprise as they've time traveled back to 1980s, 60s era, whatever. They're here to do some research. And immediately I'm like, I hate this. Because in the past, whenever Star Trek has done some time travel episodes, it's always been because of something that they are doing causes them to go back in time, or maybe they're interacting with some entity, or maybe they fly around the sun too much, and then they go boom, and then they are in the right time, or whatever. It's always a reason. This episode doesn't even show anything. It's just like, we're back in 1960s. So of course they intercept this transporting of a guy who, he's just, doing some transporting thing, and he comes onto USS Enterprise, and we got Kirk. He's like, what is up with you? Who are you? And this guy, he says his name is Seven, and he's here specifically to have these events happen that are supposed to be pivotal for the future. It's supposed to be for the best of the future, right? And so Kirk is like, part of me doesn't believe him, part of me does believe him. Like, what if I'm messing with something by keeping him here? Let me do that anyway. And he puts him into security holding, and lo and behold, the guy gets out. First of all, this guy is really interesting looking. He's got like a suit on, he's got a cat, and he has this screwdriver kind of thing. When I say screwdriver, it looks to me like one of those supersonic wand thingies that Doctor Who has. It's just what it reminds me of. And so I was like, this is so weird. This is so interesting. Okay, this guy escapes. So Kirk has to go down to the planet's surface. We got Spock's there too. And of course, immediately as soon as they arrive, they get captured by the police there. And then also this guy's trying to sabotage this rocket. Specifically, this is the day in which they have a bunch of nukes go up into space and just like hover there. And so they're doing that. They're doing fun rocket stuff. And this guy is assigned to make sure that these doesn't happen. Make sure that there's no nuclear potential at all, okay? And I'm just thinking, okay, this is interesting because I think from what I remember in like the 21st century, Star Trek's past had some sort of huge civil war that made it so the world was very not like this, obviously, but like very, what is dilapidated? That's the word, dilapidated. And then from that, they'll be like, okay, well, now we're just going to be like focusing on peace because we saw what happened. And then they're able to make the Federation out of it. And also a bunch of starships and also fun jazz. I remember that from a previous episode. Now this guy is saying that in order for things to happen, you have to stop the nukes from happening. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. You could still have civil war without nukes. I just wonder what the civil war is about now, honestly. So that's what I'm thinking. What's fun about this episode, more specifically, is chasing this guy. Plus, he has like a cool cat, and the cat is intelligent and has its own brain. Everyone just assumes it's a cat, and then the cat can just do whatever it wants and just help Seven out. And so there are several moments where he's like, okay, I'm gonna go and figure out how to get onto the rocket. I'm gonna do some coordinates. I'll do some circuitry. Oh my goodness, I'm being beamed up. Wow, this USS Enterprise has got a beam on me. But looks like it's being intercepted by this secretary lady who was snooping around and she was already established in the episode, so it makes sense that she's there. So she's snooping around, accidentally finds his hidden place and finds his computer, and then touches some buttons and brings him there. And she's like, oh no, I'm sorry. He's like, what are you doing? Oh, okay, I can actually like remotely control these rockets. And I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, why didn't you remotely control the rockets before? Like, why couldn't you just wait? Seriously. I mean, I know that you were in a little bit of a delay because of Kirk getting ya, you know, he found you, he accidentally got you. And I just think that it's kind of not logical to me. It's not logical at all. If you have the ability to hack into a freaking missile from your fancy computer, why don't you do that? So anyway, he's hacking to this missile. It's a cat and mouse chase between him and Kirk and Spock, but eventually Kirk and Spock find him, and they're like, what are you doing on this computer? He's like, I have to make sure that I have access to these missiles, and then I'm going to, you know, let them fall, but detonate them at like a safe distance from the ground. And Kirk's like, we don't really have much choice here. I think we should just trust him. And then they do trust him, and he detonates the missile from like 100 feet up in the air. So it still makes me wonder, like, of course, the interception by the USS Enterprise, that's unlucky. And then he escapes, that's cool. But then his next move is to go to the rocket launch itself and try to mess with the rocket there. I don't agree with that decision, just because that's not the logical one to make, especially with the tools that you have. You have a computer. I already mentioned this. You have a computer that can control missiles, dude. Come on, man. Just use that the entire time. So, two things about this episode. Already found convoluted. Why are they in the 1960s, this freaking USS Enterprise? I know why. I just don't take it. I don't take their explanation. And then also, this guy should have been using the computer the entire time, but of course, he stops the nukes. Makes sure that these people realize that nukes are not the way. Woohoo! And also, now this guy's like, well, I'm gonna go now, bye-bye, and then he goes, and Kirk is like, wow, this is such a weird mission. I guess we're just gonna go back to, well, I guess we'll go back to present time. And I'm like, how can you do a time travel? Are you gonna slingshot yourself around, I guess, or slingshot yourself around the planets again? Is that what you plan on doing? I gotta be honest, this is one of the weaker Star Trek episodes. There are moments in which I like it, but a lot of it really hinges on me believing that they're just there for good reason and that they have the ability to do it. Like, and I don't believe they have the ability to time travel without some external force. That's what I think. It hasn't been established in this show that they do have time travel like humans do, but like you got cool rocks that can time travel for you, I guess. So anyway, this is a weird episode. I'm interested to see what season 3 is like. This has been my time as a science officer. Mint Salad science officer is no longer here. So I gotta give this episode, honestly, oh my god. If it weren't for them being there in the past, then this episode would have not happened. And I just don't believe that they would have any means to go into the past with current technology. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you think that I'm wrong, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I should go back and watch this episode again because I must have missed something, or whatever you're going to comment, leave it down in the comments below. I gotta give this episode, what is this episode? I give this episode, it's a solid, like, 6.7 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one the platform really likes that. If you want a fast track movie, you can do that for $20 deals at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you like to help support the daily grindiness of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree, find the way you can help support the daily grind of all them daily movies. So go here. And until next time on mint salad sauce, see you later, my salad croutons and bacon bits. Beam me up.